right, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are going to dive headfirst into Indian consumer spending. We've got all these reports, tons of data, actual transaction records from millions of tech-savvy Indians,
Wow.
broken down by income and location. So get ready to uncover those spending habits, shaping one of the world's fastest-growing economies.
Yeah, it's really a fascinating look into how your fellow citizens, I guess, are allocating their rupees
Yeah.
and really revealing their priorities, aspirations.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. These reports are saying that India's consumer market is on track to be the world's third largest by 2027.
Yeah.
That's huge GE.
Yeah, it's really a testament to India's growing economic power.
Right.
Private consumption makes up a whopping 60% of India's GDP.
Wow.
That's almost the global average.
So Indians are spending big, but here's where things get a little interesting, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, household savings in India have plummeted to a 50-year low, and debt is on the rise. Is this spending spree sustainable?
That's the million rupee question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we looking at genuine economic growth, or are we potentially seeing a credit-fueled bubble? So this deep dive will help us understand all those, the forces at play.
Right. Where exactly are Indians putting their money, and what does that tell us about their lifestyle? Their challenges, their hopes, all that.
Right.
Let's break it down.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I think one of the most intriguing aspects that is revealed in these reports is the sheer variety of factors that are influencing Indian spending habits. It's not just economics, right?
Yeah.
There's a fascinating interplay of psychological, social, even technological influences.
Like it's a real cultural melting pot of influences all shaping those spending habits.
Yeah.
For example, did you know that salary increases in India have been consistently over 9% year on year for the past 6 years?
That's right. Yeah.
That's a lot of extra rupees flowing into people's pockets.
It is. It is. It certainly helps explain the increased spending power, But we can't forget about inflation and its potential impact.
Yeah, the reports definitely highlight that, how inflation makes people more cautious, especially with that discretionary spending.
But inflation is projected to ease in the coming years. So we could be looking at a consumption boom just over the horizon.
Wow.
Which would be good news for Indian businesses.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, thinking about all this data, have you ever been tempted by a little retail therapy, splurging on something to just lift your spirits?
Ah, yes, the emotional spending factor.
Exactly. It's a real driver. And this report does a great job of showing, how those psychological factors really intertwine with these economic realities. Okay, so how does this all translate into actual spending categories?
Well, the reports categorize spending into three main buckets: obligatory, discretionary, and necessity.
Okay, so obligatory expenses are things like loan payments, the stuff you have to pay. Discretionary is more about lifestyle, like those fun purchases you want.
That's right.
And necessity, well, those are the basics, like groceries, utilities, keeping the lights on.
Yeah, you got it. And here's a surprising insight. Obligatory expenses actually make up the largest chunk of the spending pie.
Wow.
A whopping 39%.
39%.
That's even more than necessities for the average Indian.
That's a significant amount going towards debt repayment. What does that tell us about the financial landscape for the average person?
It certainly highlights a growing reliance on credit in India.
Okay.
As access to loans expands, people are taking on more debt, and those repayments become a significant part of their monthly expenses. But it's not necessarily a negative thing.
You're right. It could also mean people are investing in their future, taking loans for education or starting businesses.
Precisely. The key is understanding how this credit is being used and whether it's contributing to overall financial well-being.
Now, discretionary spending wasn't too far behind at 29%. What are Indians spending their hard-earned rupees on when it comes to lifestyle choices?
Well, lifestyle purchases are king.
Okay.
We're talking general shopping, fashion, personal care, all those things that make life a little more enjoyable.
Yeah.
These purchases gobble up a massive 62.82% of the discretionary spending category.
So Indians are investing in themselves, treating themselves, which is great. What stood out to you in the data about this category?
I found a fascinating detail about fashion spending. The data shows that regardless of income, people shop for clothes at a fairly consistent rate, about twice a month. However, the amount spent during those shopping sprees varies wildly. High-income earners splurge almost 3 times as much as those with entry-level salaries.
That makes sense. As people earn more, they have more disposable income to spend on clothes.
Right.
Still, it's interesting that the frequency remains consistent. Maybe twice a month is the sweet spot for refreshing your wardrobe, no matter your
Yeah.
budget.
Perhaps. And here's another trend catching my eye. Online gaming.
Okay.
It accounts for a surprising 13.73% of discretionary spending.
13.73% on gaming. Wow, that's a significant chunk of change. Do you think this highlights India's, booming tech scene and this younger generation embracing digital entertainment?
Absolutely. I think it reflects a cultural shift and a potential gold mine for savvy investors.
Speaking of spending on fun things, the report also reveals a direct link between income and dining out.
Oh, yeah.
As salaries increase, both the amount spent and the frequency of eating out goes up.
Interesting. Convenience and a desire for indulgence seem to be increasingly on the menu for the Indian consumer.
I like that.
It certainly makes you wonder how this impacts home cooking traditions.
Yeah, maybe we'll need a whole other deep dive dedicated to that topic.
Yeah.
But for now, let's move on to the essentials, the necessities. Utilities, of course, take a big bite at 30.0%, showing just how critical those services are. But there was one finding that really surprised me.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
People living in major metropolitan areas actually spend the least on household expenses.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought the opposite. Big city, higher costs of living, but
Exactly.
what's the explanation for that?
I don't know. I was trying to figure that out myself.
Well, it's likely a combination of factors. First, metro residents are more likely to be renters, which means repairs and some utility costs might be included in their rent payments.
So they don't see those individual costs listed out,
Right.
making it feel less impactful on their budget.
Exactly. Second, their lifestyle tends to be more transient.
Uh,
They move more frequently and may not invest in larger household items as often.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about something we can all relate to, groceries. The data shows a clear connection between income and grocery spending. Higher earners not only buy more, but they also shop more frequently.
That's interesting. It could indicate a preference for fresh ingredients and perhaps more variety in their diet. Those frequent trips to the market can certainly add up.
So we've uncovered where Indians are spending on everyday necessities and those little luxuries. But what about planning for the future? Are people setting aside money for investments?
That's a great question. It seems over 90% of Indians in our data set are already actively investing,
That is encouraging to hear.
which is impressive. It seems that even with rising spending, people are prioritizing financial security,
Yeah.
which is great.
So what are some of the popular investment choices? And
Right.
do they vary across, income levels?
Yeah, great question. Well, we see a fascinating trend when it comes to the portion of income being invested. The percentage actually goes down as income rises.
So the more you earn, the less proportionally you invest. That's surprising. Any theories about why that might be?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting puzzle. Perhaps as people earn more, they feel more financially secure and less driven by that need to save as aggressively. They might be allocating more towards, things like travel or home improvements.
It could also be that their, investment strategy changes, right? They might
Yeah.
be shifting towards higher risk, higher reward options that aren't captured in this particular data set.
That's a great point, yeah. It really highlights the need to look beyond traditional savings and investment metrics to truly understand the complete financial picture.
What about investments in those more traditional assets like gold? The report mentions something about that, right?
Yeah. It seems that gold is still a popular choice, particularly in what are known as Tier 2 cities in India.
For those of us not familiar with the term, what exactly are Tier 2 cities?
Good question. In India, cities are categorized based on factors like population, infrastructure development, and economic activity. Tier 1 cities are those, major metropolitan areas, while Tier 2 cities are typically smaller, but still significant urban centers.
Okay, so these Tier 2 cities are leading the pack in jewelry spending, suggesting that gold still holds a strong cultural significance in those regions.
Exactly. Gold is often seen as a safe haven, a way to preserve wealth, especially during times of economic uncertainty.
It's fascinating to see how these traditional forms of investment persist alongside modern financial instruments.
Absolutely. It really speaks to the diversity of the Indian financial landscape. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the ways Indians are transacting. The report offers some compelling insights into the evolution of the payments landscape.
And this is where we see India really embracing digital payments, right? The rise of UPI is particularly interesting.
Oh, absolutely. UPI, or Unified Payments Interface, is really revolutionizing the way people handle money. It's quick, convenient, and widely accepted, from street vendors to major retailers.
Yeah, I've even seen people using UPI to make small donations. It's become an integral part of everyday life.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is how UPI's popularity cuts across, income levels. We see high penetration of UPI transactions, even among those with entry-level incomes, not just high-income earners.
So it's not just a tool for the wealthy, it's truly democratizing financial access. What about credit card usage? Is that declining as UPI gains ground?
Well, credit cards are still prevalent, especially among higher earners. But even in that segment, we're seeing UPI making inroads. A lot of UPI apps offer cashback and discounts, making them even more appealing for everyday transactions.
It's a testament to the power of convenience and incentives. Now let's delve a little deeper into some of those individual spending categories. Earlier, we discussed the fact that a sizable portion of Indian spending goes towards obligatory expenses, specifically those loan repayments. What can you tell us about loan trends in India?
Sure. It's important to remember that this report focuses on tech-savvy individuals who use digital platforms to manage their finances, including loans. However, within that group, we see some interesting patterns.
Such as?
Well, as you might expect, there's a connection between income level and loan uptake. Higher earners are more likely to have, taken out loans.
They probably have a greater capacity to repay, making them less risky for lenders.
Exactly. Another interesting finding was the lack of significant variation in loan trends across different city tiers.
So whether you're in a bustling metro area or a smaller tier 2 city, loan EMIs consume a similar portion of income.
Yeah, within that, tech-savvy borrower segment, at least, this indicates that access to credit is relatively evenly distributed geographically.
That's great news for financial inclusion. Does the data tell us anything about the types of loans people are taking out?
Unfortunately, this particular report doesn't break down the loan categories in detail. However, it does mention the growing popularity of personal loans, which are outpacing traditional loans, like home loans.
So people are borrowing for a broader range of reasons, not just major purchases like, houses or cars. What do you think is driving that trend?
Well, it likely reflects evolving needs and priorities.
Mm.
People might be using personal loans to cover, unexpected medical expenses, consolidate existing debts, or even fund a dream vacation.
It's interesting how personal loans have become a more versatile financial tool. But it also raises a question about responsible lending practices. Are lenders doing enough to ensure that, borrowers fully understand the terms and potential risks involved?
It's a valid concern. As access to credit expands, it's crucial to prioritize financial literacy and responsible lending to prevent individuals from taking on more debt than they can manage.
Now let's shift back to discretionary spending and revisit that intriguing online gaming trend. What are people spending their money on within that space?
Yeah, well, the report doesn't get into the specifics, but it's safe to assume we're talking about in-app purchases, subscription fees, and perhaps virtual goods or currency within those games.
It's a whole virtual economy flourishing alongside the real one.
It is. It is. And remember, we saw that online gaming transactions were prevalent even among those with lower incomes, not just the wealthy. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it makes me wonder if gaming is providing, an accessible form of entertainment for those with limited budgets. It can be a way to de-stress, connect with friends, and escape into a different world, right?
That's right. It could also be that gaming offers a sense of community and belonging, something that can be particularly appealing in a rapidly changing and increasingly digital world.
Now, let's talk about another discretionary category that revealed a strong correlation with income dining out. Why are higher earners eating out more frequently? Is it simply a matter of having more disposable income, or are there other factors at play?
Yeah, it's likely a combination of things. Of course, having more disposable income allows for, more frequent indulgences. But we also have to consider the impact of increasingly busy lifestyles. Working longer hours often means less time for cooking at home.
Right. Convenience becomes a major factor.
Exactly. And there's a growing culture of socializing around,
Mm.
food, meeting friends and colleagues for meals, exploring different cuisines. It's become a way to connect and unwind.
Food is a social currency. And let's not forget the role technology plays in all of this, right? Food delivery apps have made it incredibly easy to order meals with just a few taps on your phone.
Absolutely. They've created a whole new ecosystem of cloud kitchens and virtual restaurants catering specifically to the online ordering trend. So we really have a confluence of factors, higher incomes, busier lifestyles, and technology all driving this boom in dining out.
Now let's turn our attention back to necessity spending. We know that utilities make up a significant portion of that category. Was there anything particularly surprising in the data about utility trends?
Well, remember our earlier discussion about metro dwellers spending less on household expenses? Well, one reason is that many of their utility charges are often bundled into their monthly rent payments.
Ah, that makes sense. If they're not seeing those costs broken down individually, it might feel less impactful on their overall budget.
Precisely. It highlights how the way expenses are presented can, influence our perception of spending.
What about other essentials like groceries? We know that higher earners are buying groceries more frequently, but is there any indication of where they're choosing to shop?
Well, while this specific report doesn't provide data on particular retailers or shopping channels, we can make some educated guesses. It's likely that higher earners are drawn to premium grocery stores, specialty shops, or online platforms that offer wider selections of imported or organic products.
So they might be prioritizing convenience, quality, and a broader range of choices.
Yeah, and they're likely willing to pay a premium for those benefits.
Now, let's circle back to that intriguing trend we discussed earlier, the fact that the percentage of income invested actually decreases as people earn more. Why would individuals, put aside a smaller proportion of their earnings as their income rises?
Yeah, it's counterintuitive, isn't it? One possibility is that higher earners simply feel more financially secure and less driven by that need to save aggressively. They might feel comfortable allocating more towards discretionary spending or larger purchases like a home.
So it could be shift in priorities as people reach different financial milestones?
Exactly. And let's not forget about lifestyle inflation. As people earn more, their expenses tend to rise as well. They might upgrade their housing, travel more, or indulge in more expensive hobbies.
It's that classic keeping up with the Joneses phenomenon, a potential pitfall if not managed carefully. What about investments in more traditional assets like gold? Did the report offer any insights into that?
Yeah, well, we saw that Tier 2 cities are leading the charge in jewelry spending, indicating that gold remains a favored investment choice in those areas. It's seen as a stable asset, a store of value that can be passed down through generations.
It's deeply ingrained in Indian culture and continues to hold its appeal. Now let's dive back into the fascinating world of digital payments. The report highlighted the dominance of UPI in India. What are the key factors driving this widespread adoption?
Well, first and foremost, UPI is incredibly user-friendly. It's quick, seamless, and doesn't require sharing sensitive bank details with merchants. It's also widely accepted. Almost every business in India, from small street vendors to large retailers, accepts UPI payments.
Yeah, I've seen it firsthand. It's remarkable how this technology has become so ubiquitous.
It's a testament to India's tech innovation and its impact on daily life.
But as we embrace these advancements, we can't forget about potential challenges. Are consumers adequately protected in this increasingly digital world? Are there sufficient safeguards in place to ensure data security and prevent fraud?
Here's an important point. As digital transactions become the norm, robust cybersecurity measures and consumer protection regulations are more crucial than ever.
Now let's revisit one of the key themes of this deep dive, the relationship between rising spending and declining savings. What potential implications does this trend hold for the Indian economy as a whole?
Well, it's a complex issue with both positive and potentially negative aspects. On the one hand, Increased consumer spending can stimulate economic growth, create jobs, and boost demand for goods and services.
It creates a ripple effect that benefits various sectors of the economy.
Exactly. But on the other hand, if people are not saving enough, it could make them more vulnerable to unforeseen economic challenges. Unexpected expenses or job losses could become major setbacks.
It's like building a house without a strong foundation. And we've seen evidence of some individuals relying heavily on credit to maintain their spending habits,
Yeah.
which could lead to difficulties down the line.
Absolutely. Striking a balance between spending and saving is crucial, and this is where financial education plays a vital role.
It's about equipping individuals with the knowledge and tools to make informed decisions about their money.
Exactly. People need to understand the importance of budgeting, saving for the future, and managing debt wisely. It's about empowering them to, take control of their financial well-being.
Yeah, I'm curious to get your perspective on a broader question. With India's consumer landscape changing so rapidly, what are some of the key trends you believe will shape the future of spending in this country?
Well, first and foremost, I think the digital payments revolution will continue to gain momentum. UPI has already transformed the way Indians transact, and we're likely to see even more innovation in this space with new payment methods and financial technologies emerging.
So a more cashless society is on the horizon.
Absolutely. And with that comes the need for robust cybersecurity measures and consumer protection regulations to ensure a secure and trustworthy digital financial ecosystem.
It's about finding that balance between innovation and safeguarding consumer interests. What else do you see on the horizon?
Well, I think we'll see a growing emphasis on personalized financial services. As consumers generate more data through their digital transactions, financial institutions will have the ability to tailor their offerings to meet individual needs and preferences.
So a move away from one-size-fits-all financial products towards more customized solutions.
Precisely. We'll likely see more personalized loans, insurance products, investment options, and even financial advice.
It's about understanding the individual consumer's financial journey and providing tailored support. Any other predictions you want to share?
Yeah, I think we'll see a growing convergence of online and offline shopping experiences. Retailers will increasingly integrate their physical stores with their online platforms, creating a more seamless and unified shopping experience for consumers.
So no more separate online and offline worlds. It's all about creating a cohesive and convenient shopping journey.
Exactly. And one final prediction, I believe we'll see a rise in conscious consumerism. As Indians become more aware of social and environmental issues, they'll increasingly consider those factors when making purchasing decisions.
So supporting brands and products that align with their values, it's about making spending choices that are both financially sound and ethically responsible.
Precisely. Consumers will demand transparency and accountability from the companies they patronize, which will in turn encourage businesses to adopt more sustainable and ethical practices.
It's a positive cycle that benefits everyone involved. Now let's shift our focus back to a specific data point that we touched upon earlier, the fact that for some consumers, credit card spending actually surpasses their salary. This raises concerns about potential debt burdens. What advice would you give to someone who might be in that situation?
Well, it's definitely a warning sign that shouldn't be ignored. The first step is acknowledging the issue and honestly assessing your spending habits.
Right.
Are you living beyond your means? Are you using credit to cover essential expenses that you can't afford with your current income?
It's about taking a realistic look at your financial situation and identifying areas where you can make adjustments.
Exactly. Once you've identified the root of the problem, you can start taking steps to, address it. Creating a realistic budget and tracking your expenses can help you pinpoint areas where you can cut back.
It's about taking control of your finances rather than letting them control you.
That's right. And remember, there's no shame in seeking help if you need it. Financial advisors and credit counseling services can provide guidance and support in navigating these challenges.
It's a reminder that you're not alone in this, and there are resources available to help you get back on track. Now, I want to shift gears and talk about the role of government in shaping the Indian consumer landscape. What are some policy measures that could help promote responsible spending and enhance financial well-being for citizens?
Well, one crucial area is financial literacy.
Yeah.
The government can play a vital role in educating consumers about budgeting, saving, investing, and managing debt effectively.
So equipping people with the knowledge and skills they need to make sound financial decisions.
Exactly. This could involve incorporating financial literacy into school curriculums, launching public awareness campaigns, and providing easily accessible online uh, resources.
It's about empowering individuals from a young age to make smart choices with their money.
Another crucial area is consumer protection. The government needs to ensure that consumers are adequately protected from unfair lending practices, deceptive marketing tactics, and fraudulent activities, particularly in the digital space.
It's about creating a safe and transparent marketplace where consumers can make informed choices without fear of exploitation.
Precisely. This could involve strengthening existing regulations, enforcing those laws effectively, and establishing clear mechanisms for consumers to seek redress if they've been wronged.
It's about holding businesses accountable and ensuring consumers have a voice and a means of recourse.
And finally, the government can play a role in incentivizing saving and investment. They could offer tax benefits for long-term savings, promote retirement planning initiatives, and foster a supportive environment for financial products that encourage responsible financial behavior.
It's about creating an ecosystem that encourages people to plan for their financial future and make sound choices.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up our exploration of Indian consumer spending, I think it's crucial for us to remember one key takeaway. This is a dynamic and rapidly evolving landscape.
There are so many factors at play shaping the choices consumers are making.
Exactly. And as we've seen, these choices can have significant implications, not just for individual financial well-being, but for the Indian economy as a whole.
Yeah, it's really been insightful, I think, exploring all these nuances of Indian consumer spending. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with some food for thought, right? We've seen how digital payments are really transforming these transactions, how these traditional investments like gold still hold sway, and how spending habits vary across income levels and geographic locations. What do you think, based on everything? What's the next big trend we might see emerge in India's consumer landscape?
Yeah, well, that is a great question, and there are so many exciting possibilities. Will digital payments continue this, meteoric rise, leading to a truly cashless society? How will these rising debt levels impact these future consumption patterns? And how will consumers balance, their desire for convenience and indulgence with that growing need for, financial security and sustainability?
Yeah, there's so many fascinating questions to ponder. With India's consumer market evolving so rapidly, it's going to be really interesting to see how all these trends unfold. So, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Indian consumer spending.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.